All right, let's talk about the team. Let's just dive right in. Listen, have you had a chance to kind of really wrap your mind around 8 players leaving from this basketball team out of the 13? That's like that. You never see that. And I guess I'll preface it and say this. You also never see 8 guys leave and then turn around and assess what's coming in and think, I think we're going to be better off. And I don't mean that as a slight to everybody. You know what I mean? Like when you see that kind of change, normally you're pretty worried, but I think there's reason to be excited.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jeff. I think that, normally when this happens, because we have a different landscape, I think that what we can't do, and you know this, I mean, you talk about all the different landscapes of sports, is that we're no longer playing against to the current rules, and we can't evaluate based off of kind of, Jeff, even the world we grew up in and what over 20 some odd years, you being in this game and, and evaluating, sports across every spectrum. You look at it right now, look at golf, you know what I mean? We got dudes leaving the PGA, to go over there. And then, so I think it's different. But yes, to answer your question very specifically, I think this team is going to be better. I mean, there's no way around it. Like you said, it's no slight toward the guys who left. But here's the truth about it. Like my father used to always say, if my X's are more talented and more athletic than your O's, I'm going to win 9 out of 10 times. And the truth be told, like you bring a lot of talent in with these 8 guys.
So let's start with the big name that I think got everybody excited this week when we saw it happen. And all of a sudden everybody went, oh, man. So who's this guy and why am I supposed to be excited about a guy named Baba and all that? What do you know of Baba Miller? What have you seen and what can you tell us about what you think he'll be at this level?
Yeah, Baba Miller, I've got a chance to watch, honestly, I got a chance to watch some decent amount of film on him. And here's who he is. I mean, it's kind of comparing to somebody. I'm not saying he's going to be at this level, but I mean, he is Jonathan Isaac in the sense, maybe not Jonathan Isaac defensively, but he's farther along offensively than Jonathan Isaac was. I mean, he's 6. I mean, he came here on his visit, they measured him. He's 6'11". He's got a 7'2", 7'3" wingspan. I mean, literally, he is a prototypical today's 4-man. Can shoot it from 3. He's athletic. I mean, he can pass the ball. I mean, he's a European kid. And so, and I think he is going to be, I mean, he is a huge get for Florida State. I mean, he is one of the most talented kids that's put his foot on this campus.
Do you think, is he big enough to finish around the rim?
Yeah, no, he really is. That was the thing. When you get European kids, you're always worried about, okay, they're skilled, but are they athletic? But if you watch a lot of his film, I mean, my man's catching transition. I mean, he's dunking. I mean, there's one actual game I was watching. They threw him a lob. My man comes, out of nowhere, reverse dunk. And so he plays above the rim. He can run. And you know how that goes. And he was doing that in a European kind of, a little bit more slow down. Here at Florida State, we're out and we're to the races. So I think he's going to have all the ability to do that and really fit in.
Good news there. And I bring him up because he's part of that 6 of incoming players, freshmen, if you will. Go through and highlight any of these guys. We can't go through every player, but if you want to talk about the Corin kid, the Jackson kid, Green, Bembry, you name it, name the guys you're excited about in that group that's coming in.
Yeah, I'm going to first start off with Chandler Jackson. Chandler Jackson is Trent Forrest. Now, when I say that, I mean this. He's a winner like Trent Forrest.
Okay.
I mean, the kid just wins. And he's one of those kids, I'll do whatever you need to do to, how Trent was. I mean, you need a stop, you get your stop. You need a rebound, get your rebound. You need a bucket, go get your bucket. The kid, I mean, he really processes basketball at a high level. And so I think he's going to help a ton. I actually think as well, when you really look at Green coming in, I mean, Green is a more upgraded PJ Savoy.
Okay.
I mean, a guy who can shoot the blood out of the basketball, but he's never really played. He's always played like more of in a system, but now in how, Florida State plays and where, again, it's a lot off read and reaction. That's why these guys are prepared for the NBA. I've been watching him in the practice they've had him. He's really flourishing. I mean, again, I think as well, when you really look at a Jalen Gainey coming in, I mean, you got a kid with experience, defensive player of the year. And that was one of the things too last year, Jeff, is like, you can press all you want to and pick up and pressure the way we do, but we're really good when we have rim protectors. And I think he's going to be a rim protector as well. And I'm going to go back really quick. And I'm going to say this, a guy who I think, who has probably made such an incredible improvement to me has been Naheem McLeod. If he stays healthy, I mean, he is going to be an outright force.
We got excited about him, and then the injury happened, and we were robbed. Adrian, we were robbed because you and I, we talked about it. We were excited about where that was going, where that was trending. So I'm not surprised to hear you say right off the bat, like, hey, we got a lot of guys coming in that we're excited about, but there was a guy here who was well on his way, and then the injury happened. So that is exciting. You brought up Jalen Gainey. He's part of the incoming transfer. He was the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. He's a big shot blocker. There's a rim protector you're talking about. And also, I was excited, and we saw this guy. I want to remind Florida State fans, of course, you were there. But Darren Green Jr. can shoot the lights out. He's played a ton of basketball, the UCF transfer. I mean, you can't really overstate how important it is to have played a lot of big-time college basketball and had success. That's a plug-and-play guy. That's a guy, like with these incoming freshmen, and you kind of, we'll wait and see. Everybody's a little different. There's a lot to transition. When you got a guy that comes in and he's played as much basketball as he has, you can just start him. You can play him right now, and he's ready to go.
That's it. And I think that, I always try to remind, when I talk to people is that even though, this team was remember, we were the number one team in the ACC until I was, say biblical calamity hit this team and everybody gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But we got guys who got a lot of minutes. And now when you plug and play from Gainey to Green, guys with significant minutes, along with the guys who were here last year from Worley and Matthew Cleveland, again, ACC Sixth Man of the Year, ton of minutes, McLeod. I mean, you're going to now, and then even, Cam Fletcher and Caleb Mills. I mean, you got a lot of guys with a lot of basketball, man. So I 100% agree with you that having these two guys, especially with Green, you got guys with minutes, and that is always a big deal. Playing, and it allows your freshmen to come along. We saw last year, Jeff, that these freshmen got thrown in the fire, and and it was hard for them. It was hard to get thrown playing. The way we play, trying to play 30 minutes a game, 35 minutes a game. That's just it's insane to try to do that and play the way we play.
I think you've kind of hit on the answer that you'll need to maybe give here, but I want to ask you because we have two questions in the chat, and they're kind of both centered around defense. Swish Irish writes, perimeter defense by chance from these newbies. Definitely a step back from previous seasons, and he's talking about last year. We didn't play well out on the perimeter. This was an outlier watching this Florida State basketball team last year. They didn't defend. They really did not do a great job of defending, and we know that's not part of the culture here. That's not how they teach it. I think you just answered this some, but if you want to add to it, feel free. Basically, they had so many injuries at so many different spots during the course of the year. They had to play guys that weren't ready to play, that didn't understand the system, frequently were out of position because of it. I don't want to answer for you, but am I, if you want to take that further, go ahead.
No, you're spot on. And I think too, what we have to understand is that if you watch us play, we pick up full court.
Yep.
And then on top of that, offensively, when we're really clicking, we're 225 passes. You don't get the rest on the offensive end. So that's why you always see over time, guys can't play, over 30 minutes. Just maybe like a Trent Forrest and Terrence Mann, here and there. But last year, when we got Matthew Cleveland and Worley, haven't played 30 minutes. And you just can't sustain. I think last year, this group, now they have the physical ability to be incredible defensively, but I also think it's predicated on a system. And if you don't know where to be, and again, this from switches and everything that's happening, the game is complex. It's not just, sometimes we think it's just, oh man, just keep somebody in front of you. It's like, it's not that. It's because you're switching 1 through 5. And then it's got to know, hey, when people are running, they're going to slip. I mean, we saw it in Miami. Miami started making adjustments in the second half. And when you have freshmen, they start slipping that screen. They can't adjust that fast. They've already seen it this year. So now when a team goes to a slip quick because we switch everything, they're going to know how to adjust already because they literally had to see it over and over again. And so this team will be absolutely better. And here's the other thing. When in doubt, you've got one of the leading shot blockers in the country in Gainey, and then you got Naheem McLeod behind you, who's going to be so much better. So, because let me tell you this, shot blockers cover up a multitude of sin on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's reason to be excited. And it's weird because as we vet it and we talk about it now, while we were going through it, and I say we from afar, these guys were playing on the court and having to go through it. While it was happening, it was hard. It was the school of hard knocks. It's tough to watch. It's frustrating to watch. But as you come out the other end and you survive it, and then we add these pieces that we're talking about now, Adrian, you now see what a huge benefit that was to have gone through it. Like it's the rainbow at the end, right? You kind of, that was less than ideal. We didn't have the season we wanted to have. But by the way, these guys have been through it all now. Yeah,
they have. And here's what's helping now. These guys are going to be going on their tour. I think they're going to, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're heading over. I can't remember exactly. They're going They're going somewhere. I mean, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Dubai. It's Dubai. They're going to Dubai.
Yeah.
That's my gosh, I couldn't remember. They're going to Dubai, and here's the thing. So now you're getting all these new guys with an opportunity with the other guys to now play games. So they're going to be way ahead.
Yeah.
Their practices and things like that. So this group, I mean, they're going to come in, I think, ready to go. And here's the one thing I've been super impressed with. I mean, Matthew Cleveland, sixth man of the year. And the one thing that we knew with Matthew Cleveland is this. He couldn't, he doesn't shoot the ball. I've watched him. Here's what the kid's doing. Every morning he's in there, and I'm talking about 500 shots where, I mean, it is form, it is working on it. Then he's coming back doing it. The kid is a machine at getting better, and I'm watching him in practice. He's shooting the ball better. And he's got several more months before the season starts. And again, I'm not saying when he starts the year, my man's going to be shooting 50 from the three. But once you start getting game reps in with the work you've been doing, it starts to hone in. So if he gets to a point where he's just shooting 35 from the three, where he's just a genuine threat with already his ability, I mean, that's why a lot of NBA guys are really, really high on him because they see him, in that kind of same vein as some of these guys from Pat Williams to Terrence Mann.
Last thing, and I'll let you go. I've just wondered about this because I valued him so much. And really, we've seen for Florida State, it's tough. Guys who do good work and put in the time have opportunities. And we've seen this assistant coaching staff rated and get these opportunities. And while we celebrate those guys, I mean, we were so happy for Gates, and now see why, right? How do we replace him? How do we replace those guys? Because they weren't just good coaches. They were also coaches that did a great job in recruiting.
Yes. Again, I say this. I mean, it was bittersweet for me. CY is my guy. He became a really good friend of mine, and so. But I love it for him. I love it. He's out there with Dennis. Dennis is a good friend of mine. Again, they got a Florida State gang out there. Michael Fly, who's a Florida Gulf Coast, who got a really raw deal at FGCU, winning 22 games, and you get fired, which is unheard of. He goes to that. I mean, they got him out there on staff. They got a great group. But I hate to see it for CY. But here, I would say this: adding RJ Barsh was a great hire for Coach Ham. Young guy, incredibly energetic. A guy who actually does a good job recruiting as well. Was really, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was out there in was at Boise State, and actually they had a really good team last year, and he recruited a lot of those players there. So I think he's going to step in. But here's what I always have to remind people: Leonard Hamilton is chief OG, right? Like, I mean, look at it. The dude just signed a top international prospect over Gonzaga, who was in the Final Four. I think I'm not mistaken. It's like he just we can never go past the fact of who Ham is, right? And so I think, again, there was a hard loss for CY. I mean, we're already seeing it right now. They're already replacing and they're already doing it. So I think they're going to be fine. And I also think that, again, there's such a strong culture here at Florida State. And that's what Baba Miller said. I mean, when you talk about it, you look at his guys like, look, what we have is proof. We have proof now. Scotty Barnes, Patrick Williams, Terrence Mann, Trent Forrest, Fiondu Kamingeli, Scotty, Rookie of the Year. People want to come here now because we develop pros. And not just guys who kind of get to the league, but guys who have sustained ability in the league and who NBA guys love. So that is such a selling point. So I think we'll keep that going. It's
so exciting. It's a great opportunity, and I'm glad you did it, to remind everybody what Leonard Hamilton is, man. A legend in the game, and beloved in the coaching profession, beloved by players and coaches alike, and of course media. He's still got that enthusiasm. I just talked to him yesterday. My son's in his camp right now. Hey, it's always a pleasure, Adrian. It's great talking to you, buddy. Thanks for the insight, and we'll talk again real soon.
All right, take care, Jeff.
All right, you take care.